Armchair commanders, we call the shots. From our living room thrones where the action's hot. We're the generals of fiction, the masters of war. In silver screen battles with buttered popcorn. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders.
All right, welcome to the Armchair Commanders podcast. My name is John.
And I'm Jack.
This week, we have a bonus reel for you all. Today is Halloween, or at least it better be Halloween when I'm publishing this, but we're doing the 2018 movie Overlord in the Jack series of I Told You So.
And how'd you like it?
It was very good, actually. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was.
Same, honestly. It was a fun movie.
Like, not only was it fun, but it actually, like, technically speaking, wasn't that bad of a film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, I want to say like the over the top, like, hey, I'm locking here character, like he was a bit much and kind of lazily written, but I think everybody else in this film was pretty solid as far as their character development went.
Damn it! I wanted more of the captain, the main guy in charge.
Mm.
I wanted more of him, but he died. He goes out like a G, though.
Right. And y'all got a light? Yeah. Un Flammenwerfer.
Flammenwerfer.
I always got to give extra points when a movie has a flamethrower in it, so... But at the same time, I have to deduct points because one of our main characters, who very obviously should have no knowledge of how to operate a flamethrower, just picks it up and uses it like it's nothing.
Well, I mean, how hard could it be, right? Just pick up and go with the flamethrower.
I feel like it's a pretty technical piece of equipment.
Whoosh. Don't get in on yourself.
Like valves and pressure and whatnot.
Yeah. Manuals are for nerds.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Did you see this movie when it came out originally? No. Did you hear about it when it first came out, or like?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I remember seeing the commercial for this, or the preview, and I don't know, I was feeling high and mighty of myself back then. I was like, this is a fucking stupid premise of a movie. And I more or less, I was thinking like, oh, this is just going to be, Frankenstein's Army US edition. I'm like, I don't need to spend the $12 at the movie theater to see this. I kind of regret that, honestly. Like,
yeah, I really wish I saw this in theaters. I remember there was a hubbub, and this was basically inevitable for us to talk about, but the fact that the Army wasn't integrated until 1948 or 49 or somewhere, and it's a mixed race unit. However,
well, they very clearly try to hit on the Band of Brothers train, because at the beginning of the film they yell Currahee and they have the spade markings on their helmets. Here's my counter to this, which, yes, there was a hubbub about it because obviously the Army was not integrated, and the idea that there's an integrated airborne unit on D-Day, it just isn't a thing. It doesn't bug in this instance. It does not bug me, and I don't give a shit. And I think people who do give a shit in this instance are fucking stupid, because this isn't like the most recent iteration of Call of Duty where like they're trying to say like this is historically accurate and like based on a true story, and then you have integrated units. I find that more egregious because they're trying to portray it as truth. This is a fucking movie where it's basically Nazi zombies on D-Day. Like, when we're starting with that premise, you can do whatever the fuck you want in the movie. I don't care. They're not claiming it to be accurate.
Obviously. Yeah.
You know, there's other places that pedantic viewpoint on life can be applied. This movie is not one of them.
Absolutely not. It's very clearly like it does have some of it. Oh Jesus, excuse me, sorry. It does have some basis in real life, whereas
The
the
setting
landings.
is the setting is based in real life. It involves real units, but like aside from that, it's your typical like Nazi scientist does creepy things in a lab movie. Like, get off your high horse.
Right. Thank you. But yeah, like fuck that. Like that's what you're hung up about the fact that there are black people with white soldiers in the army? Is odd hill to die on.
I mean, we just did Tuskegee Airmen last week. Like, yeah, we're not saying there weren't black people in the war. Like, we very obviously were, and there are instances like take the Navy where they are integrated, but shittily integrated, if you will. But yeah, like you said, it's an odd hill to die on. There are other things in this film that bugged me way more than that aspect of it.
Oh yeah, like what?
So, our main characters, they make it through their jump scene, and we'll have to circle back to the jump scene because that was a grade A jump scene that they did.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
They make it through the jump scene. They make it to their target town. They've linked up with a, French woman who sorta is on their side at that moment. And they come into the house, and we hear the very obvious like groaning and rattle of a zombie, and she's just like, "Oh, my aunt is ill," and, and I'm like, "All right, very clever," but for those of us who weren't paying attention to the premise of the movie, like this is our cue that something is amiss. Thank you. Um, but a little bit later, our main character, Boyce, like goes to investigate sick aunt for whatever reason. Which, to be fair, it's kind of like an obnoxiously loud groaning. So you're like, are they dying, kind of thing? And we get the quick little, flash of zombie aunt, or monster aunt, whatever you want, because like in this film, it's not necessary. It's like a pseudo zombie film, but like zombies aren't the main focus or the main gist. It's just like, oh, the Nazis are trying to create super soldiers, and some of the experiments have resulted in zombies. But my thing here is later on in the film, we see them like taking some of their experiments that are failed out to be, disposed of, and they destroy them with flamethrowers. And my question or my thought here is: this is a secret Nazi base, very like obviously the local people know that weird shit's going on.
Yep.
Like the fact that the Nazis are doing fucky stuff is not a secret, but it's still a secret Nazi base, and like for all intents and purposes, nobody knows about it because like at the end of the movie, one of the officers asked the survivors, they're like, "Hey, there wasn't anything there we should know about, is there?" And they're like, "Nope, not at all."
Nope, nothing.
But if you are a Nazi conducting experiments on human beings, and say you're done experimenting on said person,
Yeah.
why are you giving that person back to their family when you dispose/destroy every other person? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good it's a good aspect of this story, just like introducing us into the fuckery of what the Nazis are doing. But it doesn't make sense because it's like, why are they giving their failed attempt at a super soldier back?
Well, I don't know.
Now
Maybe
you're
there,
thinking
maybe
about it, aren't
maybe
you?
maybe a rare case of Nazis having some humanity to them.
I did I did like, when they fully understand something fucky's happening because they inject the serum that they stole into their buddy who gets shot, and he jumps upright and he's like, I feel great. I'm really thirsty though.
Yeah, just the full range of human emotions in that scene of your dead friend coming back to life and then turning against you horrifically and then having to kill him.
Beat him to death.
Yep. Man, there's just no preparing you for that.
No.
Like, you can go through military training 100 times over and there's no preparing for that.
Yeah, basic training never prepares you for your friend turning into a zombie and then having to beat him to death.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
What's the saying? War never changes. I think that'd be a war-changing moment.
Yeah, depending on which video game franchise you follow, either Metal Gear or Fallout, either war never changes or war has changed. But us big brains know that the reasons behind war and the principle of it doesn't change. However, the means and ways in which it is fought do, in fact, change. So it is in a constant state of flux and then staying the same at the same time. Checking your watch because I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah. Also, Miranda just sent me the cover art for some of our episodes.
Huh, I didn't know we had a graphic artist.
We do. We do have a graphic artist on staff who I don't pay a penny.
Yeah, I was going to mention this is very problematic because, you don't pay her. And, I heard a rumor that you're also involved with her romantically. I think you're abusing your power and we need to cancel you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll be free.
I'm tired of this life.
I said cancel, not fucking kill you.
For viewers
Right.
at home, I'm fine. I see a therapist. If you have any negative thoughts, you should go see a therapist too.
All
Okay?
I have are negative thoughts.
What's with the negative waves, man?
Killing my vibe, man.
I don't know. Every now and again, I'll say something like that at work, and it just brings the room to a fucking screeching halt.
Well, I mean, you'd think they'd be used to it. No.
I just with how deadpan I tend to say it, it comes across a little sincere.
I kind of know what that's like because I used to work as a social worker, and I have used social worker humor around non-social workers, and they were just they didn't think it was as funny as I did.
They never do.
No, they just don't get it,
Can't appreciate it.
Yeah, they're Philistines. That's what they are.
Anywho, what was the thing that bugged you in this movie?
Need to think about this. The fact that we had such a great character in the captain. He's not a fucking, is he a fucking captain rank
I think he was a
wise?
sergeant.
Sergeant, whatever. Fuck. But the sergeant, great character, then they kill him right away. I guess I kind of understand why, but also I wanted more. The cigar chomping badass.
I mean, the corporal kind of fills that role also, though. Like, I feel like the corporal and the sergeant are very much the same breed.
Yeah, but so the corporal was Jax from Sons of Anarchy, right? Have you ever watched that?
No, he was not Jax from Sons of Anarchy. Very close in appearance, though.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. You know what movie he was from, though?
What?
22 Jump Street. He played Zook.
Well, I never watched 22 Jump Street.
You haven't seen 22 Jump Street?
No.
It is probably the only time I've ever experienced a sequel being funnier than the original film.
I'll hold you to that. Actually, is that a war movie?
No, no, it's not.
But war on crime.
No, no.
Okay.
That one's not even War on Crime.
Okay, fine.
It's a good movie though. You should check it out. I think it's on HBO. Yeah, HBO.
Maybe.
Anyways, um, so yeah, the entire time I'm watching this movie, I can't take him seriously because I'm thinking of his character from 22 Jump Street, which is just like this, like very dumb, frat boy jock kind of guy. And seeing him play like a serious role was hard for me to take seriously.
Yeah, a comedic character going serious, it tends to have that effect.
I will say his personality kind of came off a little strong, but like as the movie progressed, like he never really changed in this film. But he starts off as just the like the dickhead who's like, "Yeah, well, your friends fucking die," and you're like, "Okay, fucking Captain Dramatics." Um, but as more shitty things happen, like he maintains that, and you're like, "Oh yeah, this is on par with where he should be."
Yeah. He's consistent for the most part.
Another thing
And
that bugged me was during, when he's having. I found it interesting that this film had like three final boss fights all at the same time. Like each of our main characters each had their own boss fight that they had to do.
yeah,
Like
we all
usually,
have our boss fights in life.
usually it's just like the one baddie, but added a nice little variety. But anyways, when he's fighting the Overcommandant Nazi who injected himself with the serum against the advice of the mad doctor, um, literally lifts the corporal up and hangs him on a meat hook, like by the front of his rib cage. And aside from the just like the like cringing, like ugh, like anything like that always kind of gets me a little bit. That should have fucking killed him. Like
Yeah.
hook directly into your chest cavity, like either that's puncturing your lungs or your heart. Like you should not live through that.
Hey, he's just built differently, okay?
Apparently,
He's tough. People have survived some really grievous shit. And hell, maybe he got like some secondhand effect from the zombie virus that made him a bit more durable but didn't change him into a zombie.
maybe.
Also, imagine being like a carrier of that, and then 80 years down the line, you're on your deathbed, surrounded by families, and they're in for a very, very unpleasant surprise.
It's like the start to another horror movie.
And this whole genre of spooky and weird and creepy shit happening during World War II or One is its own genre. Weird War, Weird War II, Weird War One.
Trademarked.
Trademarked. There are two tabletop games called Weird War One and Weird War Two, where it's just this like spooky, paranormal, and supernatural shit during the both world wars. Those wacky Nazis just they're just such a versatile villain, like Nazi super scientists and Nazi occultism.
Right.
So versatile.
It makes me. Do you know what the first like weird war exposure I ever had was in like film?
What?
Is so you know the Sci-Fi Channel, right?
Yep.
And you know, like before they bought the license to a bunch of stuff, they used to just be like they just used to make all their own content, like sci-fi originals. Um, and I was probably like 9 or 10, and they came out with this movie called SS Doom Trooper. And essentially, it was like the Nazis created an Incredible Hulk type thing, and the main characters just had to like hunt it down. I have it on our list.
I'm sorry,
So
what was this called again?
it's called SS Doom Trooper. It's very shittily done.
Oh, hell yeah. What?
Very like C class movie.
Oh, dude,
Like
that's amazing. We need
like
to have a movie
Sharknado
night for that.
4 has better graphics than this movie did.
Tall order, my friend. But yeah, we need to have a movie night for that in that case.
I'm wondering if we need to save SS Doom Trooper for next October.
Yeah. Yeah, oh definitely.
Just because we're slightly above quota because we did 2 spooky movies this October.
Hey, in this case, I say it's good to be overproduction,
Yeah.
What did we do? Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, the documentary last year.
Yep. We did that last year, and then we did Frankenstein's Army at the beginning of this month, and then this today, the Blessed Hallow of Weems.
All Hallows Eve. I forget what the fucking old timey phrase for that is. This is Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, I got to help a friend set up his haunted house today.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. Like, he didn't exactly have the budget to make it as big as he originally wanted, but he improved upon it. He bought like a animatronic figurine, a woman who like breaks her own neck and shrieks and howls. It's named the Widow. I put up a genie's cage. Well, not a genie's cage, but like a booth for like a Zolthar-esque fortune teller. That was a fucking nightmare because there was a bunch of plastic metal tubes that I had to link together.
What are you going as for Halloween this year?
That is a good question. I ordered a costume off eBay, but I have no idea where the fuck it is or when it's coming. Might even be late, but let me just estimated delivery October 22nd through November 21st. So I'm not getting that anytime soon.
Well, you have it for next year.
There is that, yes.
I was thought about just like stealing uniforms whenever you're like an extra in a film.
I mean, yes, but also I really don't want to get on this guy's bad side because I personally know him and his family.
That's fair.
I bet if I ask really nicely and bat my eyelashes, he would let me borrow like a fucking Russian soldier's uniform. I ain't going as a Nazi, it's just no. No.
Why? There's nothing problematic about the Nazis.
You're right. I'm just being oversensitive. It's just fucking liberals that are the problem, really.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Liberals?
Them libertarians.
Yeah. Fucking libertarians.
By the way, go vote. I'm not telling you what way or what we believe, but just go vote. So
I already voted because
I have my ballot filled out. I need to drop it off
because I only vote absentee. Don't believe that bullshit about absentee and fake voting and yada yada yada. It is a perfectly valid method of voting, and That's the only way I vote, because I can drink as much as I want when I vote. Because I have this theory that if you can operate a motor vehicle while drunk, you should be able to vote while drunk, right? Back me
Well,
up
there's a
on this.
problem with that theory.
Oh yeah, what is it? I bet you can't.
You can't operate a vehicle drunk, so
The fuck I can't. Watch me.
okay. Yes,
I
technically you can physically operate a vehicle while intoxicated, but it's against the law.
This guy cares about the law. John's a pussy who cares about the law. So I would just like to take a minute to say that this podcast does not condone, it condemns drunk driving. And you should absolutely not get behind the wheel of a motor vehicle if you're intoxicated. I'm obviously being facetious, but yeah, drinking and driving kills way too many people a year.
What?
Drinking and driving kills far too many people a year.
Yeah, kills too many of the wrong people.
Yeah, we need to. So get drunk and kill the right people, our listeners.
Speaking of drinking, what are you having?
I am having. Well, I got some Tanqueray for tonight, but I'm probably not going to crack into that. But I have Miller Lite because I'm classy as fuck. How about you?
So I have Mountain Dew Zero Sugar as my regular drink, but you should be proud of me. I busted out a classic from college, and I think it's perfect for this film. It is the coveted Flaming Dead Nazi.
Oh yeah.
For our listeners at home, we had this bar that it was like a challenge where they gave you this punch card, and it was like they had 100 different shots, and then once you tried each shot at least once, then you got a T-shirt. I never filled out that punch card. I know our buddy Mitch.
God bless him.
He spent all year on that. I don't know if he actually ever finished it though. It's a tall order, really.
It is, and God bless him for just having that gumption to do so.
Right. But anyways, even though I never finished it, I always even though I had other ones I would try, me and Jack always made a point of it during our benders to go to this one bar and at least order one Flaming Dead Nazi, which is equal parts Rumpelmans, Jaeger, and Fireball.
Yep. And I just want to add that it is customary every time you get this shot or just a regular dead Nazi to dedicate it to any family member you had that fought in World War II on the Allies side. I just feel like
specified that.
Yeah, we really do need to specify that.
Well, I mean, people have different heritages. Like, you have that one uncle that lives in Argentina.
Hey, don't talk shit about Uncle Fritz. He was fleeing the war, and he managed to get away in May of 1945.
Fleeing the war or fleeing prosecution?
Fuck you. That's mind your own fucking business, John. He was unfairly persecuted by the Allies.
Okay.
He was a resistance fighter, at least so he tells me.
All right, here's to you, Uncle Dorsey.
There you go. I would take one with you, but I don't have the proper...
I forgot about it.
Oh, what? I was going to say, it's not your first time.
No, but it's been a minute, okay?
That's just the fucking weakness burning out of your body. It's burning the fascist out of your body. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to feel it because you're not supposed to be a fascist, John.
Oh my god.
You just can't win with me.
Tell that to Donald Duck.
So, speaking of Germans and war criminals, apparently Donald Duck is very popular in Germany and the Nordic countries.
Okay.
Yeah, I read this whole article about it. One time the creator traveled to Finland and the fucking president or prime minister of Finland greeted him at the airport.
Like Disney sent a guy over in a. Could you imagine being the guy that Disney sends over and having to take a flight from the U.S. to fucking Finland? Like in the entire time you're in your fucking Donald Duck mascot outfit.
Like, this was the creator of the original comic too.
Oh, never mind.
And like in an interview later, he was like, I was so fucking confused because it felt like the entire country got together to play a prank on me.
I could imagine.
Because they didn't tell him the fucking prime minister was going to greet him at the airport.
Well, it's like whenever like a rock band, like you ever hear about like rock bands that like take off in just random different countries, like
the phenomenon is called popular or big in Japan.
My favorite is there's a band I really enjoy called the Dreadnoughts, and they do a style called trash polka. Basically, it's punk rock and polka mixed together. They also do a lot of sea shanties.
Hell yeah.
Modernized, obviously. They have like they're from Canada. They have a following here in the U.S. They might do like 2 or 3 shows in the U.S. and it's always at some like dive bar. Like they had a show in Ohio and like one in Massachusetts that I recall.
More like massive two shits.
Right.
Sorry.
But they always have like a 12 show tour in like Czechoslovakia like every year because I'm really fucking popular there. And I'm just like, guys, just can you do more than 2 or 3 shows here?
Right?
Oh well. One can dream.
My favorite example of that phenomenon. So Gabriel Iglesias has a really great bit on it, where one day, just out of nowhere, his agent calls him and he's like, "So we got a fucking request from a Prince to play a private show." And he's like, "Wait, Prince, like Purple Rain, right?" He's like, "No, this guy is fucking loaded." And he was like, "Okay, so it's a USO show, right?" And he's like, "No, like this guy wants us to come to Saudi Arabia to perform in Riyadh." And he's like, "Wait, what? I didn't even think they knew about me." And he's like, "Well, I kind of don't want to do this, so I don't care. Just ask for a ridiculous rate that he's not going to agree to. He'll probably just back down from it, right?" Right. And then a couple hours later, his agent calls. He's like, "Gabe, pack your fucking bags." He wired everything. He's even paying for the flight to and from Riyadh. He is paying everything. And he gets there and he gets a taxi and he's like, "So can I ask you a question?" Taxi driver's like, "Oh, of course, my friend, of course." And he's like, "So have you guys heard of me? Do you know who I am? And if so, how?" He's like, "My friend, you are number 2 most popular comedian in all of Saudi Arabia on our YouTube." And at first he's like, "All right, I'm number 2." And then he's like, "Shit, I'm number 2." He's like, "Okay, well, who's number 1?" "Jeff Dunham." And he looks at the guys like, "Really? There's nothing at all offensive you find about any of his bits." And the driver said, "Why would there be? Oh, I love Ahmed. I kill you. But it's like, go watch it on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious and amazing. He goes on for like another 20 minutes too about his time in Riyadh and the Middle East. But we got way off topic. This movie is great.
It was. What was your... We should talk about probably the best scene in this, which is the opening scene.
Oh yeah, harrowing. Just fucking...
It does the D-Day airborne drops very well.
Oh yeah, it was like nearly Band of Brothers tier, I'd say.
I love the fact like they're like it's even been made into a meme because it's like they took a cutscene from this film where he jumps out of the airplane and like everything's blowing up around him and all this shit. And it's been captioned as like the Snoopy subplot in the Halloween episode.
Snoopy.
Not wrong.
No.
Charlie Brown's like, I got a rock. Meanwhile, fucking Snoopy's fucking shot down in no man's land. Um, I think something else that I really wanted to talk about was, you know, this is kind of a standard length film, like hour 45 minutes, hour 50, whatever, at least by today's standards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very straightforward story. Like, there are kind of a few cheesy moments and just kind of cheesy lines, but generally speaking, I don't think like it never feels rushed, but it also like it doesn't drag either. Like this movie is very economical with its time. Like it is constantly moving the story along, which I think is kind of rare for films to do well. I don't know what you think about that.
Like, what do you mean?
This film, it basically we get a timeline. It's like, hey, in 6 hours, the D-Day landings are happening. Um, and like it compresses 6 hours into like that hour and 45 minutes, but it doesn't feel like we're chopping out giant chunks of time. Also, it doesn't feel like we're wasting any time on any kind of like unnecessary things. Like if the story and the way it's told feels very organic. Like when they tell the story about Boyce like not killing the mouse in basic, it isn't like just to like we're shoehorning this in to explain why we think he's shitty. It's literally like we've been treating him like shit. This other person noticed we treated him like shit. He was assigned a task and we don't believe in him. And now we're going to explain why we don't believe in him. Like, nothing in this film truly feels shoehorned. Like, everything feels appropriately placed.
Oh yeah. Like that came around where, he finally grew the beard and killed that guy.
Right.
Just sometimes you just gotta kill people. You candy ass.
But even the, like, the whole, like, think about it this way. There wasn't some massive long exposition where, like, okay, we find out the Nazis are doing Nazi fuckery with weird science. And instead of this, like, 10-minute long fucking exposition and, like, evil monologue, we get, what the fuck are you doing? The 1,000-Year Reich needs 1,000-year soldiers. And then we're like, oh, we know everything we need to know from that sentence.
Yeah. Like solid reasoning. Gotta have soldiers for the
And then
1,000-year
instead
right.
of talking about it, they demonstrate it with our, creepy ass monsters.
So
It's a realistic, like, a person in that situation is not going to get the full fucking story. Like, I feel like our characters are experiencing that scenario in a very, like, an unrealistic scenario being experienced realistically.
I would also like to take this time because I feel like this is an apt opportunity to talk about a piece of writing advice I keep seeing constantly. It's show don't tell. So I'm confused because I'm constantly told show don't tell in terms of writing, but counterpoint Tolkien. Like that motherfucker tells a lot if you read the books.
Yeah.
And he founded one of like the most well-known and best-selling epics of all time. but he told more than he showed.
I think that's more of, I mean, you know, the written format versus a visual format. But I think that's a very apt way of putting it, is that this film shows us what's happening. Like, it's not relying on exposition.
Yeah, there is a certain charm or advantage to showing instead of telling. Where you could have monologued about the grand plan, but why bother when you can just say, well, we need soldiers, duh. Like, the fuck do you think we need super soldiers for?
Right.
Obviously, our dead soldiers aren't much good for us. This serum makes them fight for us again. Ergo. But I also want to talk about another scene earlier. Remember that scene where they're hiding in the attic and down below the Oberlieutenant or whatever, Oberlieutenant bad guy. I think that was his name.
Yeah,
But
Overlord's a bad guy.
talks to our French friend Chloe, and there's no translation, there's no subtitles. It's just them talking, and this goes on for a bit. And again, like, we the audience, because we don't speak French, don't know what's going on, and neither do our American friends. The people I was with kind of bitched and moaned about that, like, for 5 minutes we didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I thought it was to build the tension because we're hearing this through the Americans' point of view, and most of them, except that one guy, don't speak French, and
Well, I
so
think
they
that
have no idea what's going on.
I thought that moment was great because, like,
Yeah,
you have a woman who, like, has been helping you, but also has been kind of, like, guarded and cagey with you. So, like, this is kind of a make it or break it moment where you're like, I don't speak the language, and I don't know if she's protecting us or throwing us under the fucking bus right now.
yeah, and they countered with, "Oh, imagine fucking Inglorious Bastards, the opening scene." Okay, but through that instance, we were through the point of view of the French girl. Like, we know what they're saying and would know what they're saying. And yeah, like, that's something else entirely. And I can guarantee you most of the dialogue that they were saying wasn't that tier of dialogue anyway. It was mostly, are you hiding Americans? No.
But then it turns into, I'm now going to, you know, molest and assault you, which, like, from the point of view of, like, somebody who's like, am I about to die because somebody's about to turn me into, like, oh shit, she's, like, actively protecting us and is also about to endure this, like, really terrible thing. Like, even not knowing the exact language that's happening, like, we can appreciate, like, there's a roller coaster of emotions that goes with viewing it, as well as, like, seeing how she reacts to this.
Right. And it just builds the tension, in my opinion.
No, I thought it was a great scene.
Thank you. But no, the people I was with just whined about it, which, okay, whatever, you're entitled to your opinions, but my opinion is that yours is shit. But
My opinion matters more because I have the podcast.
yeah, suck it, sit and spin. But I kind of compared it to some of the scenes in Isle of Dogs, where most of the time we weren't given translations, but you could easily tell what was going on without them.
Right. Speaking of opinions, I think it's about time we give this thing a rating.
I agree. So
one scene that made me just, like, laugh my ass off was when they they tricked the guy in the motorcycle into chasing the girl down, and they, like, rig it up to explode, and they, like shove a grenade in his mouth and, like
tape his mouth shut and, like, tie his hands to the
and just
oh my god, that was fucking amazing.
So for me, I would like to do 1 to 5 suicide bomber bikes.
Honestly, I went into this not knowing what metric to pick, so I'm glad you picked one. For suicide bikes, it is. So I'm gonna go first because this was my idea, and I already have a rating in mind. I give this 4 suicide bikes and one that's 75% full, so 4.75. I loved this movie. It knew exactly what it was, and by God, it set out to fucking do it.
That's fair. I'm going to give it the same rating.
Thank you.
Because, like you said, it knew what it was doing and it knew what it was trying, like what it was set out to accomplish. It was also very economical with the time. It did the show not tell method of our storytelling. And then lastly, this movie subverts expectations. Like based on the like preview, I didn't go and see this movie when it first came out because
I
I was
wish
like,
I did.
I just thought like, oh, paratrooper lands in France, finds zombies, but it's more than that. Like the monsters are more layered than that. Um,
They're like ogres.
I was expecting this to be a very simplistic kind of boring standard action horror story, and there was more to it. There was more character development to it than I was honestly expecting. It exceeded the expectations I had set for it. Um, I would absolutely watch this movie again. So I'll
Oh
match
yeah.
the 4.75.
Thank you. I think. Wait, have we agreed on ratings before? I feel like this is a rare occasion where we agree.
Yeah, I think we have agreed in the past, but it's definitely rare just because I think we try to one up each other with stupid metrics.
You know what? Fuck you. Fuck you, DP. I give this a 1 suicide bomber out of 5. I'm
Okay,
joking.
you do
I'm,
you.
I'm, I'm
Like,
kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, let's see what the tomometer says. The tomometer says 82%. Okay. But the popcorn meter says 67%. Now, I think the audience is wrong about this, and usually I side with the audience because I more acquaint myself with the casual moviegoer than the professional movie critic. But I can't like I know this is going to be controversial what I'm about to say, and if you disagree, feel free to say so. But
you can
I
send us an
think,
email at gofuckyourself@gmail.com.
and we have a human resources manager that you can contact. Her name is Helen Waite. If you have a problem with our thoughts and opinions on movies, just go to Helen Waite. But thank you. I wanted to whip out that boomerism. Anyway, Jesus Christ, what was I? Oh, anyway, um, so I can't help but feel like a lot of the negative reviews from the audience are because of its depiction of an integrated military unit before integration was applied to the U.S. Army. Like, that's just my theory without reading any of the reviews, because I just feel like it's going to be a
It's the
toxic
same
waste dump.
reason people bitched and moaned about Hamilton having a mixed race cast. Like,
Yeah. Consider the following. Fuck them.
consider the following. Movie and film is an art form. It's meant to
Yeah.
tell a story.
You fucking dinguses.
The beginning of this film didn't say based on a true story or whatever. Like, it's a fucking World War II horror film. Fucking deal with it.
It
Okay?
knew what it was. God damn it. But, yeah. You got any more thoughts on this movie?
No.
Silence. I think I've said my piece, honestly. Like, this is
It was a good one. I say go watch it.
Oh, absolutely. If you like grindhouse films, this movie is like a real grindhouse film.
It's very violent too. Very hilariously
Oh,
violent.
so violent. Also, are you familiar with the phrase grindhouse movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're like cheap 70s B movies that knew what they were and were all about sex, violence, and gore. And like some would call them trashy, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But at the same time,
They know
they
what
had
they
their
are.
they knew what they are, and they were honest and forefront about what was in the movies, and they were just fun. Like, don't come to me with your pretentious movie ass bullshit about cinema. Like the people that refer to the people that refer to movies as kino or cinema. Just shut up. Like, watch a fun movie that's a popcorn muncher.
I love the fact that you went after Kino when we literally just got to watch a movie premiere from a service called Kino.
Okay, like I joke about that, but in a lot of my movie circles online, like the meme phrase for a good movie is kino. Like, oh, this is kino, like pure kino or pure cinema. It's German for movie, which is just hilarious to me. But also, I'm a part of the subreddit okay buddy cinema, and it's just shit posting about movies. And I can't remember what it was called, but I used to be a part of a Facebook group a couple years ago that was the same thing. Like, we shit posted about movies and shared our unironic good movie picks.
I'm a part of Memetep, which is play on words for Emotep from The Mummy.
I think that was the group I got kicked out of because I got into a super heated debate about the definition of a himbo. It got ugly.
That's a hill you were willing to die on?
Yes, I'm willing to kill. So here's the hill I was willing to die on.
No. We're going to save this hill for when we do The Mummy.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you, because I think I was about to end a friendship there with my definition of himbo. It might conflict with the popular opinion, as I found out. Whatever, just remind me when we do fucking Memetep movie.
Okay.
Anyway.
So this was movie 2 of your 3. What is movie number 3 of your choice?
I'm glad you asked, Johnny boy, because...
I like your enthusiasm.
No, hear me out on this, because I'm going to give you the choice this time, because I have 2 movies in mind.
Are they war movies?
Yes, if you turn your head enough.
Oh, okay.
So, the first option is a favorite of mine. It's a really good movie, Grand Budapest Hotel. Yes, it is a definition of a war movie because war is a theme in it. And number 2 option is District 9.
I'll do District 9.
Why is that?
Because I am more familiar with District 9 and I can wrap my head around the idea of apartheid a lot better.
I didn't peg you for a racist.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you.
I'm probably choosing the wrong one here. Like, Budapest Hotel probably is a war movie. I just don't know shit about it.
I strongly recommend you watch it, if not for the podcast, just because I love that movie. It's a Wes Anderson, and in my opinion, one of his best, if not his best.
Wes Anderson, 20 of an encroaching fascist regime. Tom Wilkinson's in it. Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Voldemort. And
I stick with my decision, District 9.
All right, I respect that. District 9 is our next movie, folks.
But I am totally cool adding Grand Budapest to our list.
Thank you. It is a phenomenal movie, I think. And I know Amanda would like it, maybe, probably. I told her she might like the one we watched, Across the River and Through the Woods or something. Into the Woods.
I still need to watch that.
Oh, well, it's a good movie.
Was the virtual premiere worth it?
Well, being as I didn't pay for it, yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else?
So, I gotta ask, like, what was the point of the digital vouchers, or how does that work? Because it didn't even ask me; it just let me in.
Oh, it just let you watch it?
Yeah, like it didn't ask for like what's your voucher number or anything. It just here you go.
I don't know.
But as we were talking just now, I finished downloading the audiobook for Across the River and Into the Trees. So that's going to be my reading project this week. I will put Return of the King on the back burner just to read this book.
Well, I appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Finally. At least one of us should probably know the book before doing the review.
It is the firm belief of Armchair Commanders podcast that, yes, reading is for nerds. However, there is some merit to reading.
I liked reading Rainbow.
Also, I'll save that for when we review it in earnest, if I don't forget.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. The stars do matter. If you would like additional content from us, you can hit us on pretty much any social media platform you want under the Armchair Commanders. Until next week, I've been John.
And I'm Jack.
And we will catch you all later.
Bye!